Musing while boozing.
Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I know. I'm thinking if I take another drink of whiskey, I'm gonna wake up on the floor. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I know.
Hey everyone, Carl here. Boy oh boy, do we have a good one for you? I'm Musing While Boozing. Brand new podcast, as always. We had sent an invite out to someone, seeing if, there was an off chance they'd join us on the show. And we were shocked and amazed when they said yes. On this evening's podcast, we were joined by Mr. James Rewucki, feature film director and director of the upcoming, what looks to be incredibly awesome horror movie, Tempus Tormentum, and his star for the film, Mr. Thyr Trubiak, who coincidentally was an old friend of ours. These guys came on the show. They talked about, what it's like to make a movie in today's independent film age, finding access to it, a few behind the scenes, as well as we went off topic in a few other areas. But I'm not going to drag out today's promo. Next week we'll get back to introducing you to new podcasts. Maybe we'll have a few official sponsors by then. But this week, I want you to sit back and enjoy it. We enjoyed making it, and we're going to keep raising our game and finding new and better guests each and every week. Thanks, folks, for tuning in, and enjoy the show.
Musing while boozing, because the best thinking happens while drinking. Hot topics over cold drinks.
Cheers.
Should let you get
And the handle is hollow and is full of weed.
Oh, yeah. It's only good for one swing.
So, guys, thanks for coming over tonight. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Excellent. Obviously,
We're happy to be here.
new voices.
We're happy to be anywhere.
Exactly. Well, a little introductions. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Starting with you, kind sir. Long time coming.
Thyr Trubiak.
Here. Got the name right this time? Do I have to call you by a different name or whatever? You're
Vinny
nominated or
Bahadur.
Oh, yeah. Nominated for Best Actor, and I got to change my name for that.
Yeah, I saw that. That was fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. Well, welcome to and yourself?
James Rewucki.
James Rewucki. These people are here for a movie that's sometime coming out. We're chomping at the bit to see, is there a release date yet?
Not yet. We've got a distributor that I'm literally about a week away from signing a deal with.
Nice.
And then once we deliver to the distributor, there's probably about a 3 to 4 month period before they'll actually get it released and out onto like iTunes and all those different platforms. So.
I wanted to get into that too, actually. Let's talk about the movie itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've watched the trailer about a dozen times, but in your own words, what is this opus that you have put together this time around?
Well, the short description is that it's a story about a drifter who goes through a small town and is terrorized by 3 masked psychopaths, and really bad times happen.
So another good rom-com coming out for everybody for date night.
Existential thriller.
There's no romance.
None whatsoever.
There's no good times. No.
The closest thing to romance is at the beginning when he goes into the diner and the waitress hits on him a little bit. That's the closest. That's the closest he gets to having a good time in the whole movie.
And the dream sequence.
Yeah, the dream sequence with that was.
Well, I gotta say, first off, when you walked in the door, thankfully you were exactly what I hoped you'd look like for a director for a movie like this. I just didn't know if you're gonna be some squeaky nerd-looking guy or whatever. Like,
if one
it's
of us
a little bit like Rob Zombie. Come on, there's a bit of a flavor to the movie that I was hoping would exist. So,
well, I'm Dr. Rage, so I got a certain reputation to uphold.
That, just from watching the trailer, that's the feel I get. It's like a Rob Zombie.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing to you, but
Texas Chainsaw.
I'm not a fan of Rob Zombie, but if that'll make me money,
yeah. Dance with the girl you brought.
And irony, he is a rock star. He's a lead singer in a band, Dr. Rage.
My goodness! Every time we have someone on here, they end up being a musician. So
you got to make money somehow.
Everybody in Winnipeg is in a band.
Yeah, apparently. I'm not kidding. We're like 12 episodes deep, and 35% of our episodes contain musicians. So,
oh wow!
And not all that was planned. We have the guys from Yaka Chose on. We had of course, the Maiden tribute band on.
Well, especially if you're talking to a lot of people who are in the arts. I mean, generally anybody, with the exception of him, anybody who's into the arts, they play something.
Yeah.
Play guitar or drums.
Thyr was big on the hand flute when he was in university.
Yes. Keyword big. Yes.
Yeah, big hand, small flute.
That's how I got all buffed up.
Here, pass me the agreement.
I was I'm going to say guitar player and flautist.
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 Oh, yeah.
You even got the terminology down.
Yeah.
Flautist.
If you haven't seen Ron and Jeremy and from the jazz flute is where it's at.
Flautist.
I feel like I'm outnumbered.
Yes.
It's like 3 on one side, 1 on the other. Should I
Three, what? Well, you can balance things out if you feel the need to move.
Yeah. Feel free to move.
Yeah, is this being recorded in surround? We just keep moving?
No, to be honest, I chop it down to mono for file size when it goes up, or else it becomes incredibly. Most podcasts are slammed into mono because people that stream on their phone.
They're lengthy, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys talking.
And it's on their phone. And it's going to be like, Wi-Fi, so you got to compress it.
The file down to about 80 or 90 megs, or the first time the raw wave file when we did the first one was like 600 megabytes, something like that, which is a huge file. But when you're talking about data and streaming and stuff, it's just unruly. Plus, the host that we use only has so much space available, so you want to chop it down.
And also, what professionals usually do is they turn their cell phone off when they start the podcast.
Yeah,
well, again, we are
we're very loose here.
6 episodes in, I've actually realized that myself. I didn't realize he was so far off the mark there.
So it sounds good though.
Yeah,
like I like your
course.
intro. I just listened to the Eli one. You know what I want to add though? Because I was listening to the Eli one. The cigarette smoking man. Because I worked with him. He came actually to Winnipeg. He's still alive. He's
he was?
very much
See, I thought he was like a work shirt.
William B. Davis. In fact, he is 79 years old, but he's a competitive water skier. Like, he does tricks and all that kind of stuff. Still.
Oh, good. Keeps him limber.
Yeah, so he's...
You know way too much about that guy.
Well, I spent a whole week with him. And then I went to Vancouver and spent some time with him. So he's alive and still doing stuff. And
well, I knew those were herbal cigarettes the entire time during the X-Files. He wasn't smoking real cigarettes. Not that it makes a huge difference to your health.
Yeah, they're still both bad.
Yeah. Every time you put something in your guts. So you wrote this film, too, right? So this comes out of your...
I wrote it in a week.
Okay, so let's talk about that, because I know I'm not the most creative guy in the world. I'm currently writing a book myself, not fiction, even non-fiction, but trying to keep that linear. And how do you put together a plot like this in a week?
Well, you just take it in chunks. I mean, the whole thing, like when I say I wrote it in a week, I'm saying the basic structure was written in a week. A bunch of the scenes were written. I needed a starting point because when we made this movie, I wanted to make a really fast and cheap, horror thriller flick that I could just get back on the horse and direct something, because I hadn't done a feature in like 8 years, and I just wanted to do something.
Acrosomnia, whatever.
Yeah.
Then that was what? 08?
That was it was released in
not that I stalked you guys, but
2010. It was 2008 when we completed that.
Nice.
And so I wanted to do something, and so I wrote this. I got this idea. Basically, it all came from a vision I got in my head of, that scene in the trailer where the 3 guys go by with the mask in slow motion.
Yeah.
Well, I had that idea in my head. And I thought, where do we go from that? Like some guy, if you're by yourself in a small town and you see those guys go cruising by, what happens from that point? And that's kind of what I started with, and I just started building it from there, and I came up with all these different elements. And the way that I structured that thing is, I would say, okay, this scene, this is going to be the cage drag. This is where he gets dragged behind a car, because that would be a cool thing to see.
It would be
basically cool. I just came up with a bunch of cool little things, like this would be neat, this would be weird, this would be wild. And you come with a basic description, and then you just flesh the scene out. Once you've got the idea,
so
it kind of writes itself.
Thing in terms of you're working your script, is that how you work in terms of, does this movie have or flow through your typical Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 type environment, or
not this one? No, this one is pretty much just a
Some mad rush.
Yeah, just a chase from beginning to end.
It looks frantic compared to. I'm pumped.
Really neat.
He essentially just goes from shitty thing to shitty thing to shitty thing until they finally capture him.
We did hear a fifth voice just join us. Bill, multiple guest, friend of the podcast, was excited to see you guys were coming over.
I'm James.
So Fanboy ran over to. I said, yeah, sure, come on by and add another background noise. But that's fantastic. I mean, I am trying to become more aware of my limitations. Because ego gets smaller as you get older. I hope
that's the proper way for intelligent people.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Well, in other cases, it's flying through the roof. But in this case, I'm so humbled by people that have that creative ability to make something out of nothing. That's just where I'm just completely blown away. Because I feel like I can run with anything. I can mold stuff, but to really sit at an empty space or an empty page, and be able to go, okay, well, I had this hallucinogenic dream, I'm going to turn that into a movie. I think that's just...
It's neat to see the backside of a lot of these movies, too. Being what I do for my hobby job, I get to see some of the stuff. I was involved in some of the production for Pinkertons. So I got to see a lot of the stuff in behind there. And then we've had a few other ones go through our property as well, too. And it's neat to see how much work goes into these movies that people really don't understand sometimes. It's just, you see the finished product in the theater and you go, wow, that was fantastic. But then you see the 13th take of the same piece again, trying to get that perfect so it fits into the movie, and that is a skill in itself, to have the patience to do that. I don't know if I have that for a lot of things. You guys do a fantastic job for a lot of this.
And a lot of, for us, because we had a really, really micro budget, a lot of times you don't have the option of getting things perfect.
So are we talking like Blair Witch budget here in terms of the infamous $15,000, or?
I would say comparable in the sense of if you compare inflation from back then to where we're at now.
So it gives me an idea, because I was just from, of course, maybe it's today's technology. The trailer looks slick, but I'm always just curious. I know, and you shot this all locally, right? Obviously, like small.
Manitoba, at least. We're
Treherne.
Treherne, yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because when I saw you, I think you were posting pictures something, and his family's from Treherne, so that's the only reason it stuck.
Shut down Main Street of Treherne.
Shut
down the whole street, and we were chasing him around with the convertible. We're throwing smoke bombs, and he's stumbling in the street, and we had a drone going. And that was one of those nights.
Did you get the bottle house in there? Did you see that?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, I like not in a movie, but I saw the bottle house.
Yeah.
Oh, the people at Treherne were amazing for us.
I know. That's
God,
fantastic.
I loved being there.
But getting back to your initial question, that was one of those nights where it's like, well, we got 4 hours where we got to nail this integral scene where we can't come back and shut down the main street. Fortunately for us, the Treherne people were really cool, really welcoming. They didn't even ask for any money. They just said, "Yeah, come fill up these forms and
away you go."
Away you go. And actually, a bunch of people from town came and they were watching us. It was amusing to them.
Yeah,
that's the fun thing about working with some of the smaller towns. We did some Foley stuff in Warren for one of the hockey movies, and they were looking for a lot of hockey players to fill in bits and pieces all over the place, and people come out of the woodwork with old gear. It's like, this is even better for you guys, because now you got the old gear to go along with the feel of the movie, because the particular one was based in the 70s. And a lot of the stuff going on is all the same kind of sounds you make.
Was that like the Gordie Howe one, or?
That was part of it. There was that one, and then there was
So you guys actually went out and recorded a bunch of Foley?
Oh yeah, crashing into the boards. I had bruises and bumps, and a few guys had some serious wounds after it was all over and done with. And it was kind of a laugh to do some of this and experience some of it and realize this as a kid. We really weren't that well protected compared to now.
Well, I kind of laugh sometimes when people go, that you get talking about hockey. We're going totally off topic, but that isn't.
There is no topic. It's fine. This is what happens. It's an organic conversation.
People go, oh, there'll never be another team like the Oilers in their prime, or the Montreal Canadiens. It's like, but hockey's so different now. Like, if you took these guys now with their equipment.
Oh gosh!
And you put them up against the Oilers in the '80s, they would the worst team in the league would destroy them.
Well, they're talking about the one area that's been huge is goalies. You say you take a goalie now, and you look at like the way Grant Fuhr played back there, where he tiny little pads half foot of the net. The only cool saves he was kicking up, and the Oilers won like 7-5. you put a goalie in there like Carey Price or Hellebuck apparently this year, and they would get 30 shutouts a year apparently because they're so much more technically sound. On top of the players,
and also they just have bigger pads too. They're bigger guys,
and they're bigger
pads.
too.
Yeah, well, and the players are all instead of Bobby Orr was like what $165 or something like that, and now you can't find a guy in the NHL that's under 205.
Yeah, and
Like
goalies are like 6'4" minimum.
Yeah. Even the guys that are 5'9".
Ehlers is a small guy.
Yeah.
And he's like 6 feet tall, 200 something.
Yeah, he walked into our store there this fall, and him and Liney and Liney's brother or some family member there, and to walk in, I'm looking at these guys going, they don't look that big on the ice, but without skates, they're all an inch. Like I'm 6 even, maybe 5'11" and 3/4, and they're 3'4" and like 30-40 pounds, and bigger than me, and I'm carrying weight that they're not carrying. So I'm just looking at them going,
and that's why I don't think, unless they change the rules drastically, you'll never see anybody beat Gretzky's record.
No,
Yeah.
because
he
was
91 goals one season or something like that.
he was that far ahead in offense, and there was no defense. And now, just with the way the defensive structures play with defensemen and with the goalies, the fact that you got anybody that can even score like 40-50 goals is incredible.
Yeah, there's no doubt the guys now their conditioning is off the charts.
They used to have these beers and cigarettes in the dressing room. And
That was the thing.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough as a kid, this is I got to see one of the Jets working at my uncle's place doing his workout, pitching hay. And him pitching 75-pound bales, 2 in each hand, throwing off my cousin.
Bobby Hall used
to
do.
Yeah, it was Bobby Hall actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. It's still an awe moment in my life. He says because I must have been about 10 or 11, I guess, when I saw him doing this, and I'm like absolutely floored that this big hulking guy with these spindly little legs could toss these bales up to as far as he could.
He had forearms like a silverback gorilla.
Yeah, that's pretty well it. It was just amazing to watch him chuck him around. It was such a shock to see. Just you're always blown away by that.
And the thing is, he was just a full-blown raging alcoholic too. I remember hearing stories about him just getting hammered, and then he just
that was the
next
big
day
thing.
he gets up, goes on the ice, and he just
away he goes
problem.
again.
No problem.
That was the laugh. Is I remember hearing someone talk about training camp, and these guys were drinking beer on the bench, smoking cigarettes in between going out to do practice shifts. It's like holy.
I saw Guy Lafleur smoking on the bench during a game in between shifts.
Yeah,
I remember that during his comeback. He came to the Winnipeg Arena, and I was watching him, and he's like, he gets off the ice and lights up a smoke. And
then there was Mark
smoking on the bench.
And now you got Mark Scheifele, who was interviewed last year, and he said basically every gram of food that goes into his body is portioned out a year in advance.
Oh, wow.
And his personal nutritionist plans his diet throughout the year, knowing that the mid-season he needs more fats and then whatever. So he says, literally, I can tell you what I'm having for dinner on September 14th of next year. And that's just where the science is now, where that must give you, a percentage point or 2 or 3 better than what those guys had. So I think just the natural median curve of the skill level and abilities is going up and up and up.
And that's why Scheifele's just going to continue to get better and better, because that guy he's so hardcore, man.
Yeah, he just lives and breathes hockey.
That's the thing. And you watch some of these people, it's just like seeing some of the stuff that they have in some of their houses. One of the Jets has a full skate surface in his basement. It's plastic ice, but you get a full skate surface in his basement. It's all his basement is. It's a skating rink. It's crazy to think that spare time they're downstairs shooting pucks out of that.
They have heart monitors on when they do practice. I was like Wendell Clark did an interview thing in Toronto, and it's like when it reaches a certain amount of energy, heartbeats used, and all that, they're done practice.
Yeah, they shut down.
Like, you're not going to get burnt out for the game.
No,
it's just so scientific.
It knows is how far you need to go to do what your body needs to do to get ready, and then you're done.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It takes the guesswork out, but I mean, there was a lot of more variance back in the day between good and bad, and I think even like the worst in it, like the fourth liner guys today would look like rock stars 25 years ago. Yeah, like Andrew Kopp, yes. Favorite Jet.
But it is a totally different game now.
It's something to see how much has changed. And you look at the technology around that game too, what they're using for even film, when you go to the film end of things there, and how much video these guys are watching to see what's going on with other teams, what they're doing, preparing before they even get on the ice to do stuff too.
But just the size thing. Could you imagine a guy like Bufflin playing in the 80s?
Oh God, no way.
No, it would just like it would be bowling pins.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one that got even close to that was somebody like there's. Well, Stevens wasn't big, but you got the Stevens and Lindros area, right, where guys actually played with their body and started blowing people away, and then the rest of the league caught up. But it's been going in like levels and levels like that. Mike's like, how the fuck do we get all this hockey shit this season?
I know, right? Actually, I was thinking,
I don't fucking watch sports.
The only sport I really watch is UFC.
GSP
Hey,
doing what he did
GSP
there.
got pretty bloodied up in that fight. Eh?
But he did what he always does, right? He found the moment
Yeah,
and he just
won.
It's
he defines UFC. Like,
That's
it's
the battle right there.
Yeah.
extreme thinking with extreme consequences. That was the best definition of a UFC fight I ever heard from them. If you get two guys who are really good, it's it's a thinking man's game with extremely violent consequences, and that's what it is. He was taking shots and looked like he was going downhill, but he found his opening, and then boom, boom, fight's over.
Yeah.
And he walks away going, "That's what I do." And I don't look pretty, but he's done. Crazy.
That's the thing sometimes with a lot of stuff. This is you watch it and you're just looking for your opportunity to capitalize on it, whether it be sports, whether it be making movies, whether it be anything else in between. There's something that's going to fit into it. This isn't, and you run with it and it turned out really good. It's just.
I think timing for everything is the most important variable, and randomness of everything. I mean, you're talking. You made a funny joke there when we came in. Well, I didn't know you're going to do this well or whatever, and I had this that reminded me of a conversation I had 2 days ago at work, and some girl was frustrated with her career or whatever, and we were talking about, and she said, "Well, how did you get to where you go?" And I'd love to say, well, it's all hard work and effort, but there's also little random spots of being in the right place at the right time. And for me, it literally was. There was an interview that changed my life where I was making, before this, I was like a call center manager, call center, making something $10 an hour or whatever. And then sent a right email to a right, I guess the email was brand new, but long story short, got in front of the right recruiter who was sympathetic to sort of my cause or whatever, and said, "You don't quite have the qualifications we thought you had, but I'd like to pass you on to the executives for potential opportunity." And it was with Home Depot, and I went from making whatever it was an hour to, well, yeah, this position, if you get it, starts at $65,000 a year. And
Sweet.
yeah, and then it just sort of, and then you build up from there, right? But that's what happens. It was, if I never would have talked to that one guy who was willing to listen, saying, "Yeah, you don't have the university degree we thought you had," because you said 4 years university, but you didn't say that you dropped out at the end of it. But you said it in the interview.
But you admitted you were a resident. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I said no. It was true, but it was funny. If I would have talked to that guy, that was in 2002. From then to now, my life would be completely different. Completely different. 5 different tax brackets later, 2 marriages later, whatever.
And when you talk about luck and being in the right place at the right time, I think probably more than any other vocation in the entertainment industry, whether you're a musician or
this was a good segue. That's
an
what I
actor, or it's like you got to be lucky. I spent the last 30 years trying to get lucky. It hasn't happened yet, but
Well, and then how does
you have different forms of luck. I mean, I've had things happen. I got worldwide distribution for my last movie, but unfortunately the unlucky part of that was the guy that I got distribution with was a total thief, and he was based out of the States, and he basically stole my movie and ran with it, so I never saw a penny out of it. So it's like, I got the movie out there and built a fan base, but this guy got all the profit and I got screwed.
That was Hollywood accounting, that no movie actually ever really technically makes money.
Yeah, well, this is what he did. He basically cooked the books and made it look like for every penny it made, he had to spend some money on something else to promote it.
Yeah.
And just always worked out that way. They never had to pay me anything.
Right place, right time. That's really how I met you, though.
I was going to say, because this is your guys' second endeavor together?
Yeah. Third.
Third in a way.
Okay, so what am I missing then?
You're missing something that we don't want anybody to know.
It's yours.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yes. Scour the internet.
He was like the DOP of a movie.
Yeah.
And I auditioned for some other guy, and I was in his feature film, and James was working on it, and he loved me through the whole movie. I think that was the truth, right? He just absolutely loved me. We just hit it off
with hair
entirely.
like that, how can you know?
No, he hated my guts apparently the whole time. Him and the whole crew wanted to beat the crap out of me because I was an asshole in a movie, and they just thought I was an asshole in real life.
Well, he was always in character. He played this character named Joey P, and Joey P was just a complete fucking douchebag.
Oh my god!
And he must have. That's why I knew he was a good actor.
It's funny how that goes too, though. If you can do that and carry that on even after the shot ends.
Well, he's still playing him.
He can let it go anytime now, buddy.
Well, see, I had a full-time job, so right from the end of work, I have to drive to set. So I got to get in character real quickly because as soon as I'm there, boom, we're shooting. Yeah. So that's why they would only see me as the character, and then once we're done shooting, I got to get back home and get to sleep. So they'd only see me as the asshole for a while.
And then about halfway through shooting, we were shooting this scene by these train tracks, and we had to go to another location, and he needed a ride, so he rode with me in my vehicle. And as we're riding, we're talking, having a conversation and everything. I'm like, hey, this guy's all right. He's not a douchebag at all.
He's not like Kevin Spacey at all.
We lived with him for a year. It took us 6 months to figure that too. But I mean, yeah.
And then he put his hand on my lap. But
This is the guy we knew.
When I was yeah.
We were all dressed in robes at the time that happened.
So I met these guys.
Yeah.
Not everyone necessarily knows, not to go off topic, but yeah, because I know Carl and Mike from living in residence when we went to university.
1990 fall, summer,
93?
September, 93.
That's right.
That's when we all
seventh
got
floor.
together, and then after that...
I was a wannabe.
You were fifth or something, right?
I was
He
a
was
wannabe.
fifth. He was a Klingon. And then after that, moved down to Lake Crest, and with Cheryl and Eli, and we just, from there on, we just hung out, so...
So right place,
Fantastic.
right time.
Yeah.
And then I've been in a couple features under James. James is a genius, so I just ride on his coattails. And there's like a couple shorts in there. And
So when did you start your media career, James? In terms of and was it something like is that? Well, I guess my bad question. Back up. What were you doing professionally before you made movies? Was there a time period where James was not making?
I did all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked at my dad had a car dealership, so I worked a lot at the car dealership.
Mm-hmm.
I spent about 4 years running the rental department there, which was, I was ready to, pull out a rifle and start picking people off, but I knew that
I've seen that movie.
That's my job.
we could edit this, right?
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't my
Does he
vocation.
still run it? Do
so
we need a shout out to a car dealership here? Or?
no, that's the family sold the dealership.
Okay, well then fuck him.
But I did all sorts of things. I worked on a farm for a couple of years.
That's an experience in itself.
Worked in the. My favorite thing was working in the cleanup department, washing cars, because I could spend the whole day doing this mindless task, and I could always be thinking.
Because you knew there was something else going to happen down the road?
I was always thinking of, because back then I had recording equipment, I was writing and recording, and I was still making, little fun videos and stuff like that, so I really like
sending you
the manual labor
just
stuff.
to tell your friends.
There's something about a job where you go in and you punch in and you punch out and you don't have to think about it, because it allows you to think about other things that whole time.
That's kind of neat sometimes to be able to do that too. It's just you can get pretty creative with other things.
So that's my problem. I have too many taxing jobs. I don't have time to be creative. That's my roadblock is.
Actually, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because in university, in the summers, I went back up to Flin Flon and worked for the mining company there. And we're wearing respirators, so we can't really talk to each other half the time. So your brain just spins, and I'm thinking of a million things. And then where I work now, I'm just in front of the computer, and I'm doing too much thinking, and life just sucks after that. Sucks you up creatively. Mindless stuff. It's like meditation or something, maybe.
Oh, I did my first meditative yoga on Sunday with Eli.
Oh, nice.
We didn't know what we're signing up for. We both go to the same gym now, and there's these you can sign up for tons of classes, and one we want to do is yoga, and we're both we're old and stiff, but we didn't know we were signing up for this yin variant. All you do is talk about falling into the mat, and literally we lied down, and an hour later we got out. Is really what it was. The girl was talking to us. So it was a different experience for someone like myself, whose brain operates at 100 miles an hour, usually talks at 150. And after an hour, we looked at each other well, what do you think? I think I feel more centered, but she's like, now let your thoughts wander. And I'm thinking, bitch, you have no idea. Squirrel on speed is
Actually, amazingly, I tried that hot yoga.
I love that. I totally love hot yoga.
I'm thinking the first day, I'm like, this is no problem. 30 minutes in, no problem. Then all of a sudden, it's like a switch hits you. 45 minutes, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shit.
Bert
this
Kreischer
isn't as easy as I thought it was.
Joe Rogan, they just did a 30-day challenge where they did, on top of not drinking for them, they did 15 days of 90 minutes of hot yoga.
Oh, wow.
90 minutes, 15 times in the month.
So my sister-in-law teaches a lot of yoga,
no
too.
booze for the entire month.
And she says, you think it's easy.
So they came out of there then they hit the bottle hard November 1st, and they're back on top of things. But it was, I don't know what kind of transformative effect that would have on me. I know I do need to do more stretching and bullshit because the older I get, the tighter I get. I'm dying.
All I know is it felt like I had lifted weights for a week and my hands were so sore, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this sucks, man. Now I can't do what I need to do.
You have to use a lot of concentration where it's really slow. Like I look at it from Tai Chi because I used to take it down in the central square at City Hall in the summer times when I was working down there. And it was great for the lunchtime break. This is half an hour of Tai Chi. Half an hour of Tai Chi is like about an hour and a half of really heavy physical work because the process of going through it is precise for everything that you're doing, and that slow motion is actually harder to do than doing it fast.
Are these tattoos?
We're saying that.
Can
You get
be.
some of those, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like just lifting weights. So much of it is the negative motion, doing that as slowly as you possibly can. Right?
Resistance motion.
Well, I mean, speaking of health,
Yeah.
I think I read on either on your website or on one of your podcasts, November, you had a special name for it. I already forgot.
Oh,
It's like
Slender
no-
November.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've just as a, for me it's okay. Well, and Mike failed, by the way, day 2. So it really.
Who starts it after Halloween? Come
But
on.
I have a job where I'm
Jesus.
office every day, traveling every day and stuff, and so with Eli, he's with me 100%. So is my wife and a few others. Basically, no takeout, no desserts, no sugar, no. They just cut out. The only thing we didn't cut out was beer. But for me, it's because I realized a lot of my extra caloric intake during the day was just fucking driving around and eating here, eating there, not taking a lunch, doing whatever, because I don't really have. My job is I go from this office to this office, this stuff at random times every day, right?
Convenience.
Yeah, right. So convenience foods, right? So eliminating all the convenience foods. So we've actually cut out all the. We haven't gone to a restaurant or anything all month. So I'm not looking for dramatic effects. I think I'm down like 7 or 8 pounds or something. But it was more just to see if that's all it takes to sort of reset. And then of course Eli got the gym membership. So then we go to again. We've talked about it actually on the show here, but an amazing gym, the new Fitness Manitoba building downtown. I don't know.
That's a fantastic
Oh my
facility.
god, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And you sign up, you pay one rate, you can take as many classes as you want. Great showers there, the track, equipment, whatever. And I got a buddy to go, so we're at 6:15 in the morning. If you want to join us downtown, we'd love to. Yeah, love to have you come by. We do kettlebells.
I
on
don't do
Wednesdays.
anything at 6:15 in the morning.
Well, either do we. Apparently, I'm standing there going, "Are you going insane?"
I'm already.
Yeah, we did a kettlebell workout last week at 6:15. That of course Thursday we tried to sit on the toilet. I screamed, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Why I haven't seen you look better.
I scream
mean,
every time.
Even from university times to
I
now.
don't see why that's.
No, this is the best. This is the best shape I've been in since high school,
Yeah.
and that's not just from this last month. Just in general, my 30s were so bad with the Crohn's and stuff that
Yeah.
I'm actually, luckily, I'm in better shape now than I was 20 years ago.
Yeah,
so.
because I remember there were some scary times, and then afterward you changed a lot. It's like, wow, you look good.
Yeah, I hit the
And-
weed really hard, and
Kool-Aid wine and
Kool-Aid wine.
whatever it takes to get you feeling.
yeah, we actually the card just showed up last week or whatever. So
Oh, that's what that was.
first order
Yeah,
came.
he's a
First order came in last night.
registered medicinal user.
Mike's gonna go with some party supplies.
It's quite surprising
but,
to see how many different uses there is for it too. Because coming from a
Well, it's
military background, a lot of people are using it for PTSD. And it's to control some of the anxiety.
It's not
issues
enough to
that
knock
you
you
have
out
with
or
it.
whatever. It's a coke.
And it comes in
Not
a
gonna
variety of different
For all-
forms. It's just,
I promise them my children won't kill you, but it's a.
You the whole thing, or
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You may know to feel like in the back of your head or whatever, but that's it. It's not going to make you loopy or whatever. Because it's medicinal dosages, right? So, but
apparently
barely
if,
just a slight
if the
aftertaste.
memes on the internet are
Infused
true,
each
you can
one
say
with
it has some
100
Parkinson's
milligrams of
too.
THC
Yes.
or whatever.
Now,
But all factory measured dosage,
surprised to
safe.
see the horrendous difference. in-
brownies from somebody's crazy
This is
grandmother,
from where he
whatever.
was 2 years ago to where he is now.
Really but what is for
different
someone like
night and day.
myself, the problem
Really,
was
it's
that
quite
the
shocking. But he's using a liquid form.
symptoms were just small
which is
and
a
always there.
different-
This is
different
wipes
animal
down.
in
That's
itself,
chills
too.
it over. Just chill.
And
Oh, yeah, there's like aches and pains or
Yeah,
something.
just-
You're saying what's going on.
Mike,
Just-
I had one of those, and well, this again, it's an old person's thing
Yeah.
because
we're not a young crowd.
Yeah, 45 minutes in, I'm like, oh my god, I feel great.
Yeah, we tried
Like,
them.
no aches.
Went to
no
Rumors last
pains.
night.
I'm like,
And so we ripped open the bag, and before the waitress came, we popped a couple of these things, and then literally we look at each other 40 minutes later and was like, I feel fantastic.
I thought I could run a marathon.
it's a shame.
But I can stand up without grunting.
I said that to me and my buddy were out for a drive the other day, and we were with his kid. His kid's like 14 years old, And we're like, we're just like you. It's like we think the same things and all that stuff. It's just we're in a constant state of low-level pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thought is like, do I have to go to work today? And how do I hurt my back? Those little things run through my head.
Yeah.
That's the secret, though, too. Is this Mike would be best for this? Is because you can understand the THCs and
The CBDs.
that was at CBDs. I was trying to think of the term for that. And this is in what affects your body for different things as well, too. This is like you're the best for explaining.
That's why they have a hard time saying, well, take one of these, because the body chemistry has a huge effect on whether that's going to make you...
And as soon as you go eating it versus smoking it, there's an entirely different metabolism factor. When I sat down with the doctor at the clinic it's off the corner of Broadway and Edmonton. It looks like a yoga studio in there. They don't sell anything on site. It's just it's information, and they have MDs like working there. And my doctor had faxed over my papers because in Manitoba there's still a risk. There's no safety to the doctor in case I decide, you know what, weed's bad for you. I want to sue my doctor for malpractice. Whatever. There's no protection because it's not the insurance hasn't caught up with with prescribing it. But he was totally on board and said, hey, go to this place. They have doctors there that have no problems with it, and I'll send you a referral. So I sat down with the lady, and she was actually educating a small East Indian doctor girl on the things going on. And as I sat down, she goes, this is Carl, and she knew my case history. Oh yeah, Carl's had Crohn's for 21 years, and over 50 surgeries, and has symptoms like blah 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 blah. And in the past, I've worked, and she named off like 3 examples of guys that were in similar situations, and this is what I was able to do for them. I'm going, well, that sounds really awesome. And she said, so what? Carl, fill us in on what I'm missing here. And I talked for like 5 minutes, and the little girl's taking notes. I say little girl. She's like, of course, she's a doctor. She's 25. And little girl's sitting there and typing away.
Little girl.
So Carl, what I'm going to do is a bit of a higher dosage, but I want to take it this much at this times of the day, and it's not going to, of course, mess you up. But you're just going to walk away without that. Like, I don't remember what it's like to sit there and not have tension in your guts, just always holding things in, right? And so she goes, no, that'll just dissolve. It'll go away. And like literally, we're sitting there last night, and for the first time, except for once in California, where in like 20 years, like, oh,
that's what it feels like.
What normal feels like. That's when you're not always clenching your abs.
Yeah.
The trainer's always like, you have such strong abs. I'm like, well, because I'm doing a crunch.
It's got to be a relief to have that feeling.
It's just it's a different.
Go away.
Yeah.
It's a confusing feeling to just not like I guess I
to not be in pain.
Yeah, it is. I always say your body can reset what's normal. In anything, any type of environment, you can just, whether it's a bad work environment, a bad marriage, bad whatever, you can always set, this is now the new normal. And you're forgetting that in this case, normal is actually down here. And you're like, oh, all this is just you fucking yourself up.
That's why people stay in bad relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
For a long period of time sometimes, too.
So now we've gone all the way to talking about relationships.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. This is your first time here. Unfortunately, this is not unusual. I do want to go back to, because you hit upon something when you're talking about the 80s versus now in hockey. It got me thinking. It got me thinking.
I thought he was going to go back to the movie.
No, it is. Because it got me 80s versus now in the movies. The guys just had a quick little note. I apparently last year, there was 45,000 feature films released.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's 10 times what it was 10 years ago. So, in the US, consumes more of that than anybody else, and they consumed 1%. So I guess my question to you is, for someone like yourself, an independent filmmaker now today, where Christ, his son could make a movie, and my son is actually at home right now making a movie, a stop motion Lego movie.
Nice.
Yeah, but and what he pulled off in the first like 1,200 frames, I'm amazed. Again, what technology does on a goddamn phone, and I'm going to do the audio editing and add a soundtrack in whatever form. But how do you get noticed?
What I can do with cheap apps on my phone, blows away what I could do in the late 80s with all of my
massive technology,
semi-pro equipment.
Well, I submitted a video for a barbecue competition this year.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
you can do it with your phone.
And the special effects, the transitions, the smoothness, the steady cam feature, everything. I was blown away at the 4-minute video I produced, Jeff, that I was just like, I can't believe I made that. And it's only combining 3 different apps, running it through one, then another, and I'm like, holy shit. I couldn't believe what came out of there. But
absolutely awesome.
My question to James is then, how do you get your movie noticed? Like, obviously, because I've seen some things you guys are doing.
Well, the only thing that you can do is be so good that you can't be ignored.
Well,
that's what Steve Martin always said.
Yeah.
Be so good they can't ignore you. And that's like, honestly, for like even between like when we released Agrisomnia, that was about 10 years ago when we were trying to get into festivals.
Yeah.
And we could not get that into a single festival. It took us a year before we got that one distributor interested, and he was obviously interested because he wanted to steal it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how hard it was then. The fact that we made this movie now for
how long was
half
the shoot?
of what that budget was, like it was less than half of the budget of Agrisomnia.
Yeah.
It took longer. It took about a year and a half to complete, like from the beginning to the end of post-production.
Much shorter days than Agrisomnia, though. We pulled some long nights.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, well, when we worked on Agrisomnia, it took about 6 months to do, but we were working on it non-stop.
Is that including pre and post and everything, or?
No, it took 6 months to
filming?
shoot. The post-production was only about 3 months.
Because I guess when you're doing it independently, you're not doing like full-time shoots or whatever, right? So,
but when we
because
did
they knock out movies in
Agrisomnia,
a regular like environment in like 12 weeks, 16 weeks, or whatever in terms of.
Well, we couldn't because, like, say I had
Yeah, right. Because people have right. There's there's
dying.
external factors, meaning you got smaller chunks of the day to.
and with
film it.
Tempus Tormentum, it's a movie that takes in large part takes place outdoors in the summertime, which, as you know, in Winnipeg, you got a really small.
And we're moving on to next year now.
We actually started production at the end of August, so we had a really small window. So we ended up not being able to finish everything that fall.
Yeah.
And then over the winter, there was a lot of downtime. We shot some interiors in the winter, but we didn't revisit it again until the following spring. So that's why it got extended over a long period of time. But everything that we shot before then, over the winter, I was editing scenes, and I was working on stuff, and I was rewriting stuff.
Yeah.
I came up with a whole new ending for the movie and stuff. So once again, getting back to the whole writing thing, I wrote the initial first draft in a week. But over the course of filming it,
the director's edit is incredibly different now.
Yeah, all sorts of things changed. I mean, when we were on locations, there was a lot. We would improvise. We would try different things. Like I said, when winter came and we stopped filming, I rethought the whole ending and the beginning of the movie, and so we ended up reshooting that the next spring, and so all these little happy accidents happen, and it's kind of when you're working that way, your limitations kind of become creative inspiration. It's like, this is what like a lot of our locations. We got our buddy Kendall Hines. He was in the properties management, and so he says, well, I got this property over here. It's an abandoned building. It's like a fucking horror show. There's this huge. It was over on Burnell Street, and you walk in there, and it's like, this is perfect. I would not want to be here alone at night.
I know.
So that's what we did. We stayed there alone at night for a week straight.
It's strange. This is I'm pretty sure I know the building he's talking about. And that place, even when it was working, was pretty scary.
Well, it was right behind the shoppers on Burnell, and it was a big old bread factory.
Yeah.
And it's like 4 stories.
I used to flip garbage in there,
Mm-hmm.
doing the garbage cans early in the morning, and then you're walking into the area where you got to go through along the side of the building. And says there's stuff scurrying around underneath the leaf litter and things like that. And you go in the side door, and it's like dead quiet in the building. It's because everyone's on the second and third floor working.
So how are you preventing previous theft from happening? Like, how is it still a gamble? Like, is it?
How you not getting ripped off this time?
Yeah. How do you prevent getting ripped off? Like,
educate yourself, right? Like I spent, this whole past summer, I spent, basically putting myself through a whole distribution course and like teaching myself all the I learned a lot from getting ripped off the first time. I learned a lot about what contracts are good and what contracts are bad, and the clauses to look for, all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, you can't prevent yourself from getting ripped off. All you can do is do your due diligence and try your best to get the best possible deal. But if someone wants to fuck you, and especially if you're signing a deal with somebody who's based out of Los Angeles or Arizona or
there's always a risk.
So that part of the business hasn't become self-service yet, then, right? The distribution piece or whatever, because so many other parts of it, I'm going to think.
Well, you can self-distribute. It's a lot easier to do that nowadays than it was before. But the thing that you can't do as a distributor is unless you make it your full-time job.
Yeah.
And unless you have a massive marketing budget. how are you going to?
Because that's getting
You gotta
noticed,
go.
right?
You got to go to the film markets. You got all. That's what all these guys do. They know everybody at the film markets. They go there. They know all the different broadcasters, the
Right.
VOD guys, all that kind of stuff. And they go, "Hey, I got this property for you. It's perfect for you." They know the whole business. You're some person like I don't want to be a distributor.
No.
I'm a creative person.
Yeah.
I want to make films.
Yeah.
I already do way more administrative shit than I ever wanted to do in my lifetime. So I'm quite happy to take the thing that I made sure that I had with this that I'm gonna have with this contract that I didn't have before is I still have the ability to sell DVDs and stuff off my own website.
Right.
And that's something that were I to go it alone, I'd pretty much be doing it that way anyways. Other than I'd get it, I'd use a aggregator to get it on like iTunes and Amazon and all that.
Yeah.
But you put it on there and it's the same thing. It's a ocean of shit that you're competing with that unless you can market it and publicize it and get people to know about it, it's just going to sit there.
Unless lightning strikes, it's almost impossible.
And getting back to what you were talking about with the saturation, as when we made Agrisamia, that was 10 years ago, and like I said, we couldn't get it into a festival or anything. With this film, which here we are 10 years later, the market's way more saturated, and we spent half as much on this film, but we've gotten into 14 different festivals. We've won like 8 different awards.
Yeah.
Tyr's nominated for Best
So let's
Actor.
talk about a few of those then, because I saw you recently. Tyr, you were in Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what was that festival?
That was the Hamilton Film Festival.
And how do you? So, Ken, you're talking to guys who have no idea. Do you submit it for consideration? Is that
That's all. I mean, that's all I did. I just submitted to all these different film festivals, and for whatever reason,
it resonated.
It's resonating with people, and they're liking it.
Some of those film festivals are incredible too. With the little bit of traveling I've done around, I've been able to enjoy some of these festivals in different places. And some of the films you see there, you'll never see anywhere else.
Never see them again.
And you wish you could see them again because they're just that good.
Yeah.
It's a shock
there's
how
always-
hard it is. You have to work to get into it. But it's a shock sometimes how little distribution that film might get after too, especially if it's like a really good film.
no-
And a lot of these,
there used to
film
be.
festivals, even the little startup film festivals that have only been around for 2 or 3 years, they'll through Without a Box and Film Freeway, they'll get 500 to 1,000 submissions. So I mean, even the little festivals getting in there it's pretty amazing. Like we've got almost a 20% acceptance rate.
That's incredible.
And it's way beyond what I expected. I don't know, if that's an indication of how
It's gonna
well
go,
the
yeah.
movie will
Yeah.
do when it gets released, but I'm hoping it is because we need some
Okay, I
fucking
mean, due to our
money.
personal connection, I've been sucked into following your movies for a while to keep my eye on Greasy here in terms of how he's doing and what's going on, and a little bit about his side career. And yeah, when I saw this one literally like explode on the festival circuit and Googling and watching it come up, it gets me excited to see it for one, but
You know what I can say is that, again, I think my group of friends, we're looking for something different that mainstream just can't offer anymore.
I wanted to ask you, like, what do audiences look for today? Have you noticed a change? Have you?
Don't fucking ask me. Man.
Then you figured it out, you wouldn't be here.
If I knew that, I wouldn't be here.
It's funny, sometimes you make the movie you want to go watch, and it turns out that's also the movie that so many other people want to see as well too.
Well, that
they
has
don't.
always been my attitude, my philosophy when it comes to whether it's with my band and doing music or whether it's with the film stuff. There's this really disturbing trend lately, like when you're doing anything, you want to educate yourself about the business side as much as possible, and so I've read a lot of books on marketing films and all that kind of stuff, and there's this disturbing trend where they say before you even write your script, before you even start pre-production on your movie, you should have your whole marketing plan. You should know what your demographic is. You should have all this stuff in place. And I say, fuck that.
Yeah, well, it kind of takes away
Because
from charisma.
I
right?
want to
Like,
make something.
Yeah,
I want to fucking make
You want to
something.
express yourself.
Like when I first started working on this movie, how did I describe it? I said I want to make a movie where I can have fun with all my friends making the movie, and a type of movie that me and my buddies, when we were in our 20s, we'd want to get high and watch on a fucking Friday night. And go, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But there's not. That was my criteria.
I thought there was that third criteria, and you wanted to torture me nonstop. I'm pretty sure that was in there.
But that's the unwritten criteria.
Oh, that is teasing me bad to see this movie.
That's the fun thing too about some of these smaller movies. This is the big movies I tend to call industrial movies. This is because they're pre-programmed. Even the music and stuff like that is all pre-programmed to find this particular demographic of this particular movie.
Yeah. Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Is a prime example.
Well,
right? He's just taking it to the.
My 13-year-old son is just getting introduced to Michael. He's like, so does shit just blow up? I'm like,
that's his.
Yeah, but you know what? It's blowing up cells.
Hollywood is an ideological state apparatus. That's what I'm saying about Hollywood.
It's like a relationship or trying to get into a relationship. Like you'll think you're gonna pretend to be someone else. Like I think girls or guys want me to dress like this or act like this and you're gonna be someone else. And it's just going to be fake. And you'll fool a bunch of other people thinking you're cool or whatever. But in the end, when you get older, you realize, be yourself. You'll attract the right people. And that's what you do for film. James makes the kind of films that he wants to make, not what he thinks certain segments are going to have. And the right people will be, attracted to it.
The environment you described there, James, in terms of, get your marketing and lined up and sell, that resonates me in terms of what happened with the whole, .com bubble, right? You had companies that had great ideas and images and pictures and, pets.com, and let's go into the Super Bowl, and let's have these commercials, and, by the way, though, we don't have a profitable business. It's not something that's going to work. But it was all the glitz and glam and everything that was already prepped. They figured out how to sell it before they realized what they were selling.
I think it's still going on today.
No,
look at Trump.
Just changed to different people. That's one of the things that, not to bring up the Blair Witch, but sometimes when you're talking about these things, you have to bring it up.
That's it.
That movie, the marketing was brilliant for that movie.
I remember, so.
And there's a lot of people that still say, "Well, I really liked that movie. I thought it was really scary." But when I saw it, it disappointed the fuck out of me.
I wanted to leave
because I was so psyched. I thought this is gonna finally there's gonna be a movie that's gonna scare the fuck out of me.
Yeah, and no.
Because horror was not doing so well.
And talking about timing, right? That's just when the internet just got big enough to help that.
Yep.
So there actually was an internet. Because you take the internet out and Blair Witch makes $50.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was a perfect combination of the technology was there to support. People were just getting into it. It was a younger age, so horror was going to appeal to them, and things were able to go fucking viral. And you heard about, oh my god, found footage, which again was the first time that was coming out.
Realism was just starting to get in. Now we have reality TV shows, but before that it was always.
Remember when the movie Ed came out?
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey or whatever, and it was about guys filming around with cameras and stuff right there. And the whole idea of having your whole life filmed was foreign, and it could never. And now that almost seems quaint and passé in terms of what they showed as what they thought was an extreme.
Yeah.
As now you look at these fucking YouTube vloggers and stuff like that. That's all they do every day. Their whole life is like this with cameras, and yet that was
searching for likes. Is what someone once said. So much of this is they're searching for likes, trying to get you to like whatever it is they're doing.
Well,
but
that's with the social media. This is another piece of advice they give you when you're indie and you're marketing your film. Well, you got to get lots of likes on social. You got to get lots of Twitter followers. You got to get lots of Facebook followers, and it's like. Why?
That's not your,
See, those people aren't spending any money.
No, we just have to get
that.
We just have to look at the last election in the States to see what happened with that. So, the so-called guys doing the polling say, "Oh yeah, this is what's happening," and you find out, heck, Trump just got his ass in the office there, and he's the biggest idiot going in the building.
Finally, it was one that turned the presidency a popularity contest and actually won.
Yeah,
so.
That's this. And the sad thing is you see it in a lot of.
Don't worry, James. We'll be sharing your trailer with the tens of people that listen to this podcast.
Here's a perfect example. Agrisomnia got worldwide distribution. It's been out there for about 8 years now, and I've gotten. Emails or I've gotten messages from people all over the world. I've gotten, I got 2 reviews. I got 2 reviews on this movie from dudes in Italy who loved Agrisomnia, and I said, "Hey, you loved Agrisomnia? Want to check out my new movie and review it?" And it's so I got these 2 Italian reviews.
This
but
is
it's but still, Agrisomnia has less likes than my cat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Strange things going on.
My cat doesn't have worldwide distribution. My cat hasn't been seen on pay-per-view and video because people
Well, you don't
watch the
know
movie.
that. I've seen your
They don't go
catalog.
looking for it and like it, and it's like
No.
that's not a reflection of how something is doing in the world.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. You got to do a little banner with your cat on it. That lights.
There we go.
We had at the old studio. We had our shop cat KO, and just for shits and giggles, when we first got on Facebook, I said, "Well, I'm going to make a page for him, and I'm going to call him a public figure." So I made a page for him, and I just every other day I just put what he was thinking that day, and it was always just something stupid, right? And he's got like 300 likes. And Angry Saw Me only has about I think we just got over 200 a couple of weeks ago.
I did the same thing with me when I was dressed up in a Mr. Slurpee costume. And I started a page, and that thing's got 350 and climbing.
Jesus, are you still allowed to use that?
I do nothing to promote it, and just every day it's another 15.
This is the thing about the internet and memes and all that kind of stuff. It's mediocrity is king. On the internet.
The sad thing about this, corporate world looks at that and goes, "Oh, this is our new angle to market stuff." It's really
nuts.
It doesn't do what they think it's doing.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Like
it's just mindless stuff to fill your mind with crap. Essentially,
and maybe I'm just out of it, but I don't know how that shit translates to money.
Neither do I.
I mean, I get how Zuckerberg's rich because he's trafficking information.
Yeah, and how does somebody like PewDiePie make $8 million a year?
He's gathering everybody's information and he's selling that to people.
$8 million last year.
So I get how he makes money.
That's an immediate.
But how
do you make money off of getting likes on your shit?
Well, I got an 11-year-old daughter, and she's just at the age where she is glued to the tablet, and I'm engaging her so Gracie, tell me like who do you watch on the internet and stuff like that, and she's. And I'm not that old. I recognize a couple of names and stuff. And okay, so the YouTube stars, right? No, yeah, and you can go to traveling shows and see them, or whatever. And so I'm like just off the side. I go at work. I'll take 5 minutes. Who is this? Look up and gross income and stuff like that. Yeah, like $5 million last year, $6 million last year. I mean, the advertisers. I don't know if this bubble's going to burst, but the advertisers are paying fortunes to have their ads run. But I don't think that most of the traffic that is driving there has the purchasing power to long-term support the ads that are there.
Right?
So Revlon is advertising to my 11-year-old daughter and
where else
18 million of her friends, and they're paying 2 cents a click to this dude that's making $5 million a year, and I can't see how that is translating to a boost. But I think right now we're still maybe at the tail end of the stage where you got to be there because everybody says you have to be there for an advertising space.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a bubble there that's got to go because I'm.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I'm sick of this shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
like have you guys ever?
As we're sitting here doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Have you guys?
Oh yeah, not monetized. Trust me.
Have you ever bought anything from one of these ads, one of these click things? Like they piss me off. I don't want to buy anything.
But here's the thing: it's what's really disturbing is they know your buying habits because they follow you on Amazon and they follow you.
Oh, I believe it works. I believe it works.
On Facebook, one of the most unnerving things. I went on Amazon because I was looking for a typewriter.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it for a prop. So I go on Amazon, I type in typewriters, and I'm looking at different typewriters one time.
Yeah. No.
And I go on Facebook the next day, and I'm getting all these ads for typewriters.
You need a typewriter, James. Come on, we know you.
And it's like it's just creepy. It's like you're fucking following.
My Facebook page has me living in Panama City, Panama, and it's amazing the ads I get from Panama.
My Facebook says, I noticed you were just at.
Yeah.
Because I'm of the type too. I'm also of the person where, I'm 40. I don't really, if I want to keep things private, I will. But for my public persona or whatever, the average person, I believe someone can see me, then I'm not too concerned if I'm private at that exact moment. I mean, if I'm in a bedroom, whatever, that's different. But so I have my location on, whatever. I'm just fascinated to see the interconnectedness of things. I'm a bit of a geek that way. And to see how quickly it'll say, hey, I just noticed you were at so-and-so. Would you be interested to know that they have 15% off next week? And there has been those type of ads that I've got, oh, I didn't know that.
15%?
But then when it goes
soccer,
but then when it goes, hey, I just noticed you took a shit.
Yeah.
There's a deal on Charmin toilet paper.
Shipping to your house right now. We're so close.
Amazon,
Yeah, I noticed you just had a really good masturbate.
Well, yeah,
Some porn over here that you might be interested.
according to your Fitbit, you were lying down and ran 7 kilometers in 10 minutes. Now, either are you able to transdimensional transport yourself, or you were thinking about something hard.
Does your stepper work for that?
Yeah, lubage technology. You got to use your right hand, not your left hand, or that's the problem.
I did 1,000,000 steps today.
I spent the day in front of my Cody box.
Yes. Another perk of getting older.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Older and wiser.
Yeah,
Like when I was younger, I realized what advertisements did because I'd watch shows like Transformers, GoBots, G.I. Joe, and then I needed those toys.
That's because those were
Yes,
Transformers.
it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Those were commercials.
So I think somehow it's getting monetized for the kids, or at least they believe it is. But maybe as adults we recognize.
But now they
commercials
just go directly to kids in school, and they just open up their laptops, and they have the ads
Whatever it
going
is.
right to them when they start their school day.
Mm-hmm. No, it's funny now watching.
Sinister, man.
Yeah, I got that age.
Well,
it's
it's
13 and 11, like coming right through right now.
It's
I'm
about
watching
fashion
how they
now,
react
right?
to technology, and I'm just. It's
funny
fascinating
to
of mine. I'm
see
watching
the
them just how they get
difference, too.
influenced and,
Like, I remember
and how
when
they're
computers were
changing
coming
and
into
how they
schools
think about
in
things
junior
entirely
high.
different than we did as a kid. Some
And
better, some worse.
I
but
watch how my son reacts to computers.
so
now.
integrated
It's
to it.
different.
That's you nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
Some
Uses
better,
it
some
Some worse.
worse.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think
Education,
overall it's
they're
any different. I
using it as
think
a tool
Like
for
what we were talking
entertainment.
about with sensitivity and
sometimes
empathy.
education.
Kids are way more sensitive and way more empathetic today
PewDiePie's
than we
a
were
for my
when we
son,
were
too.
younger,
He's
which is a good thing.
Yeah,
But then it goes too
My
far,
daughter
Yes.
and it becomes
much other
shitty
things than
thing.
that.
like it's not bad that 90% of the kids in
I haven't heard
Winnipeg,
about
frankly,
PewDiePie
don't
since
understand
South Park.
racism.
Otherwise,
Like, it just
I have
doesn't
no
exist.
idea.
Yes. Which is good.
Which is good, but that's there's the plus side, right? I mean, they're so inclusive now.
But
that-
the other side
this,
is
that?
they're scared to see
I don't know,
anything.
some crazy
No.
guy. I think we're just
but
some of the stuff.
And I don't mean
Wow.
anything racist. I just mean
I don't
they're scared to
understand
see a thought. Like
Why
it's just
other kids or other people.
Well, you're constantly
I feel
censoring
like I'm my
yourself.
Yes.
Where I'm lecturing the little
Which
kids. Like, in
that
my
to me
day,
And that is the ultimate
I
thing.
stayed
Jim
safe.
said.
I
When you
played my
get to
own
the point
games
where
with
we're
my
all
own
just
energy. And of course, he was like, we went outside and we played.
That's Big Brother at his best.
I did-
And they didn't even. The government didn't even plan that.
I'm gonna get you all for 1 second here.
yeah, because I can't edit this up.
You want to go?
Cut that burst out.
It's kind of funny because we were just talking about some of the stuff we were doing as kids with computers compared to our children that are well, my children in my case, since that are how they use the technology now. We actually have an old Atari at the beach.
A 2600?
The really old one. Now we're talking Cartridge City there. But it's funny because
I'm so good.
my son's favorite game and Dylan's favorite game is Frogger. And they play Frogger crazy. No, they continually at the beach when they come out. And he says, that's a game I remember as a kid when I was their age playing that. We're talking 16-bit. And they're into that. It says then you come back home and you find out you can play it online. It says, Dad, this isn't quite the same as the beach. It says, yeah, I know all the ads are spoiling it. I mean, like tons of ads. Like, you can play it for free, but it's tons of ads all over the place.
all that, it's just like hipsters with vinyl and all that kind of stuff, which is great. I think the fact that vinyl is making a comeback is an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's the biggest selling year last year
even
since
with games,
1986.
like those
Yeah,
retro games are making a comeback too, and I think the simplicity is what makes them attractive.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the biggest things that
I don't-
drives those little app sales, like those little fucking Flappy Bird games or whatever, is because it's like the consoles took it so far one way. Now you can play a game where you can literally, I got 30 seconds to kill and I want to be mindless entertained, do something and wiggle my finger around, and I feel. I was listening to fucking podcast today. I was driving to work, but there was a doctor talking about how the brains of humans aren't set up to handle the endorphin rushes you get from the whole likes. You were talking about likes. The fact that the addictiveness quality for some people in terms of that need for that type of instant gratification, human beings were generally, you had to work really hard to get any sort of gratification in the past, and now we've hit this in the last 10-year span where for some people it's like an instant drug, like button. And
think about
there's
when-
serious concerns about our ability to be able to handle that psychoactively, because
You got to raise your level of what gratifies you. That's all it is.
that's what
For
happened.
me, gratification will only be making $700,000 off of this movie.
Yeah. Think of it when
So please, folks, go to TempusTormentum.com. Sign up now.
Think of when VLTs first came out. I have a family member that was a big problem for that particular individual. And he said to me later on, it's the flashing lights that get you, literally suck you into that machine, and you just keep on going. And it says when it stops, it's like, God, I gotta find more money to put it in the machine. You know, put it in
You're
the
saying
machine.
about TV screens. When you go to a pub for a drink and a snack or whatever.
Yep.
And the screen's on, and it's not even so, like Thyr says. I don't even give a shit about basketball, but I find myself watching the screen just because it's there.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause we were in New Orleans, and it was the most gorgeous restaurant I've seen in a long time because it was outdoors, but it was kind of it was indoors, but made to look outdoors.
McDonald's. It was-
And they had a football game on TV, and I don't watch football. You know,
It's okay, we still love you.
hockey, but it's just like I could care less. I can't even name the teams, but I kept on
Probably
looking at
New
the
Orleans is
bloody
one of
TV.
them.
Did you like the hints, or did you were just watching
It was just because if it's a commercial on for tampons, I'm gonna fucking watch it. It's like God, there's like this is why I'm not seeing the TV. I had to move to this side because you have a screen on right there.
Oh shit!
I wouldn't be looking at you guys. I'd be like,
The biggest joke I have in my house is if I'll sit there and, we have none of our kids have a phone, actually, and their tablets are at their dad's. So in our house, we have TV, which is incredibly regulated, like an hour a day type stuff. And we have a family tablet that kicks around, but no one's allowed to monopolize it. So that, and when they grab our phone and say, I'm looking at something and something comes up and the video plays, that instant that sound starts, boom, all three kids are around you. It's like a cat, and a cat in a can opener.
It's a shock.
Yeah, it is literally. They come running and they will push each other out of the way to see what stimulation you're looking at. I'm like, holy jeez, like no, we're not watching this right now.
We
like,
had a mailbox at the beach where you just
shocked.
fire your electronic device in, shut the lid,
Yeah.
and you shut off from the world for a while. And what
It's
is
just like Better Call Saul.
Oh, that's the thing. Sometimes it's a good thing to do that.
That was my favorite. Just because we go to Cuba.
Stuff. Yeah.
There was no. You could turn your phone on
Wi-Fi.
Cuba, but you're paying like $1 million. Right? 'Cause you're going through. So I always left my phone in Winnipeg. Go to Cuba. Go there 2 weeks. Just nothing.
I actually rather enjoy seeing the kids struggle.
It's neat. When I go for my rules class for railroad, they have a rule in the building: your electronic device must go in your locker.
Yeah.
And it's neat to see the young guys because,
get
especially 20-year-olds, they go through DTs from not having that device in their hand all the time. Or some of my friends, how can you let your phone ring in your pocket? Don't you gotta answer?
Well, Japan has thousands of people.
It doesn't bother me.
That's anytime. If I go on vacation, if I'm gone for a week or 10 days or whatever, I don't ever go on to Facebook. I don't even check my emails. I don't do nothing. And then when I come
I
home
have
from
a
my
wife that takes a
vacation,
picture every 30 seconds and puts it
it
up.
takes me about 10 minutes on Facebook to realize I didn't miss fuck all.
Yeah.
And then I go through all my emails in about another 10 minutes and
Mass delete.
realize that there was like 3 important emails that didn't need my attention for the first
We
10
gotta promote
days.
You know what?
more. You need more important emails.
My job is technology, phones, tablets, this stuff. I could throw that away and be fine.
I'm not that crazy.
I hate it.
Really?
I would rather have nothing. I would rather have no technology than.
So would you describe yourself as a Luddite?
He's a Luddite wannabe.
Yeah. I mean,
It's amazing what the technology will do to you because you miss stuff like this. Although we're using the technology to record it, the art of conversation is missing from so many people.
Well, someone else asked me they said, why do you do? And I said, think of it. How often do you sit down with someone in today's world and have a hour and 10-minute conversation about whatever? Right? Like, how often do you get that opportunity to sit down and literally just talk about whatever? And you were saying, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to talk about hockey. And he goes, here. But that's the whole point. Because, I mean, we're booking guests right now for the next 3-4 weeks out. And this girl for next week or whatever, if you hear this story. Anyways, and she's like, oh, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, well, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I mean, I think she's a stripper. But
she doesn't like that, though, right?
So we can come back next week.
There's a $10 cover, but it's I said no. This is the whole point. It's not an interview. We're not going to sit here with 15
The whole
questions.
point is to go off topic?
The point is there is no topic. The other thing James and millennials struggle with, and I'm watching this in my house, and you know how you say
structure.
You get off on watching kids struggle. I get off on watching them go.
Sounded horrible.
I know. It's fucking bad.
Yeah, there's a white van in the back. Anyways, and my daughter will say, "What are we doing tonight?" I'm like, "I don't know. You're doing whatever you want to do." She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, what are we doing?"
She wants to tell
I'm
you.
like, "Well, I don't know. You're going to bed at like 9:00. It's 5 now."
This is the wild thing about
Fill
going to
those
Carl's
hours.
place too. Is because Carl has a beautiful backyard for entertaining it.
Yeah.
And it's surprising.
He's got a
After a
pool.
while, everyone forgets that they have this electronic
tub.
device, and we start doing things.
It's like 1986. My
Well,
background.
it's awesome sometimes because you learn some fascinating stuff about people after a while. Like I remember you were saying a couple times here that you also have a band going on as well too.
Yeah, let's talk a little about your band in terms of.
Yes.
My band is called Dr. Rage and the Apricots.
Any gigs coming up?
We got a gig at Shannon's on December 9th.
That's
Nice.
a fantastic.
It's a great venue. I've
I worked
had
there.
many beers there.
I worked there. It's a beautiful place.
That's one of the main places where we play because it's one of the few places that will have us.
So
Like
Dr.
Shannon's
Rage,
downtown?
I'm thinking
Yeah.
we're Celtic instrumental. Is that the?
No.
No,
Outrageous, probably.
Listen to the name, Dr. Rage and the Apricots.
I never said that. My English is terrible.
We're a very loud, raucous band, and that's
Nice.
we get away with playing at Shannon's because Gerard, the owner, really likes the band, but we're a little loud for that venue.
Yeah.
When you
But
usually play though, like
we've been
Friday?
playing there long enough that the usual
Nice.
crowd, they know who we are, so they know what to expect. So if you come in there and we're giving her shit and you're too loud, I just say fuck off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
not your
It's actually kind of funny.
We're
yes.
playing for the people that came here to see us.
Yeah.
Now that you tell us the name of the band, I'm thinking, he says, gee, the last time I was there, I think you were probably on the stage because it was absolutely insanely loud in the building. And anyone that knows me knows I carry earplugs around my pocket, and that's just other issues I have to deal with. Stick them in my ears, and like, this is damn good. Go back to the conversation I'm having with buddies at the table there. It's just like, this is kind of neat stuff in the background.
But like Friday nights, is that when you guys?
Saturdays.
Saturdays, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll check schedule, buddy. We have to go on a little
we
bit of
don't
a.
Yeah.
Saturdays, and then we got another gig there booked for February 3rd. So,
Nice.
We're third.
but yeah, and that's another thing with getting back to talking about having conversations and stuff like that. It's like, what about just sitting in the backyard with a bunch of musicians and they're playing acoustic instruments and jamming songs?
That's awesome.
But it's amazing how many people don't give a fuck about that anymore.
Yeah.
It's
You
funny.
pull out your instrument, you start playing, and you go, I'm bored, put on some music. It's like,
It's funny.
and this is like with professional musicians, not
Yeah.
like some
Yeah.
shitty hacks.
I'll have to give a shout out to Rob Jacobs and his bunch. This is from Jacobs Plumbing. This is because he still does this on Saturdays with a couple of his neighbors around his place. They all get together either in his garage or one of the neighbors across the highway at their place. He's got a really big garage to perform in, and a lot of them are really there just for the love of music, and they play around with some stuff. They play some old stuff, play some of their own stuff, play some. Rob seems to find some really good guys to come over every once in a while and play some music and play some really awesome stuff. And it's that once in a few times where you get to really enjoy yourself for things like that. I remember in the 90s when I was working out at the University of Winnipeg, University of Manitoba, and going to see bands, guys playing in someone's basement. And then you see them a few years later and you realize, wow, I've seen them when they were just starting out. Absolutely awesome.
Well, it's an opportunity to see live, spontaneous creation too.
Yeah.
Winnipeg has always been a blip for that too. It's just like, I always remember seeing so many live bands here in Winnipeg, and then moving to Victoria and finding out like to find a
doesn't
live
exist.
band was difficult.
Yeah.
It was difficult, and it was just I'd have to really thank my great aunt for this, because she gave me advice and she says, yes, Bill, you need to go to Max Headroom's tonight. There's a band playing there. Take your friends and go. It's going to be $10, but it's got to go. It's going to be well worth it. And I go that night, and it's Tom Cochran and Red Rider for $10. And as far away as you and I are from the stage, watching them play, and it's absolutely freaking awesome.
I was working
The building was
downtown.
210 people. Yeah, it was great.
I went through my pyramid phase there when
Yeah.
I was working downtown at the Trizac building and used to pop one block over and
Pyramid used to
it
have
was
some
it was
really
Friday
good
at
bands.
5:30.
Used to have
Didn't
some
care who
good
was playing that
bands.
night. We just pop over, pay the cover, sit there, and God knows what.
Well, that
we'd
was
see.
essentially where Crash Test Dummies
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
Pyramid. But it was a Spectrum back then.
Yes.
Yes.
Saw them open.
Now I just dated how old I am.
Well, I saw them open in 1980.
know what it was, too.
1989 or 1990 for the weirdest mix ever. They opened for, what was it? It couldn't have been made. It had to be Quiet Riot.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, at the old Winnipeg Barn. And it's so funny. Talk about a band, whoever booked that show was ridiculous, because a third of the crowd, as soon as they finished, got up and left. because the tickets weren't expensive, but literally it was like there wasn't a lot of people that were there for both. You were 3/4 to 2/3 were there to see Riot, and then literally 25% of those got up as soon as choir had stage, like, yeah, and we're out. And left. I drove in there with a bunch of guys from McDonald's and Portage Prairie, and we went. I was a fan of both, but more so for the Crash Test Dummies.
Oh, the Albert was good for that too.
Albert was a lot of
great
fun.
bands went through.
You remember going there when they still had the chicken wire up in front of the stage? Yeah. I used to live in that place off and on with a few of my buddies. Used to go for a lot of different things. I'll give a shout out to Rob Noakes there, who did a lot of sound for some of the bands traveling through there. And he invited me out to a lot of good shows there to see that.
I remember when we got the opportunity to play there a handful of times before they shut down, and there was the bartender that was a fixture behind the bar that you always knew when you were having a good set because he'd start throwing ice cubes at the stage. It's like,
I think that's part of the reason why they had the chicken wire.
If you didn't know what was going on, you'd think, why is this asshole doing that? But if you knew him, you knew that was like a compliment. It's like, you guys are doing good.
That was a good time. I would love to hear your band on too if they ever, guys want to come over and have a few beers and we'll restock the bar.
My band doesn't drink.
Do they?
They don't drink light.
I was gonna say I'm having trouble believing
that would have to be a Friday night podcast.
Oh yeah, the dates are very flexible. We just threw this one because everybody's schedule was sort of meshed up, and I've been wanting to get you guys here for a while.
You know what? I want to add in something quickly that also makes me really sad because it's a time with us in the times when we were in residence. All our doors had posters and little plastic over top, and we had like markers, erasable markers, and we would write notes to each other. Hey, this is my class, meet me here, meet me there. I went to the residence just a little while back, because the girls are still 18.
Very sterile.
Yeah, it was just like, no posters,
nothing.
No writing. It's just so sterile and boring.
Yeah.
Like, I guess they're on their phones, and like we would spend how many overnights missing, doing homework and stuff in each other's rooms, just talking like this, literally talking like this and drinking.
We were the last generation to go through that building where ultimately it was just before technology took over. There was the Derek Leongs and myself and Jamie that were figuring out email to begin with, but really it was the last of the analog kids coming through university before it completely flicked the switch. And I don't think that lightning will ever be kept. So like, I want my kids to go to university, and of course, I think it's important. They won't have that experience, but again, they'll have an alteration of better, worse. I don't know.
They'll have their own experience, right? I mean,
and maybe they'll find that independence even more
some
refreshing.
Old guy shit, thinking that they won't have their nostalgia and their.
We watched movies all together in the lounge.
Mark Levy.
Sure.
That was that French cheesy porn that was on that HBO ripoff. Oh my god! Yeah, you remember Mark Levy?
Back in the good old days when we had paper porn, man. We had to flip through it.
And then when your kids get old and they're doing their podcasts, they'll be like, "Remember when they used to have podcasts?" It's like now these kids are all just jacking into each other's brains.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There was
no.
Like
Remember
we used to have to talk to
doing
each other. We just didn't do it by jacking into each other's brains.
Have you seen that movie, The Belko Experiment, yet?
No. Wait. Remember?
I wrote it down because of the podcast you recommended it.
I watched it with my brother-in-law a couple
Do you remember
fantastic.
This is a good thing,
the
Carl.
horrors of that.
The trough of Everclear.
Oh my god!
Remember,
we were the last for the Everclear.
Nobody would do that nowadays. You're just scooping in there. People are dunking their heads. They don't care.
You get the AIDS if you did that nowadays.
No, the Everclear would burn that off. It's fine.
That was brutally awesome. We smuggled it in with in antifreeze bottles.
Yeah.
One time.
Kids these days are too lazy. They would never do that.
No, they'd order it on the internet. Everything shows up on the internet. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah, it was every generation, Zeke, and I am not naive enough to think that we were special, right? Every 10 years,
it's all
different. So I can't imagine what the pressure is like for kids to go to school now. It's been like fucking $25,000 a year in the U.S. I don't know what U of M education is now. It's probably at least double what we paid. I couldn't tell you what tuition is. I'm going to find out in another 6 years.
It's like what hockey is.
Yeah.
It's just getting to there because we were there when we were smoking and drinking in between classes, but they won't anymore.
No, because they have to. Because the risk reward, I think, and the fact is that there's not even the pretense of a job promising when you come to university now. I mean, now, like, I'm really hoping my kids explore the trades and stuff. Not because it's cheaper, because I think they can get a better job or a better chance of getting a better job.
And make good
Unless you're going to take a specific skill, like you're one of the blessed to get to be like fucking engineers or fucking doctor or something like that in university. But if you're going anywhere near the humanities or anything, like I think you're completely fucking wasting your time.
Well, I think they should just all be artists.
Yeah, and well, yeah, because that just flood the market even more, and then you can just go on pokey.
So
It's like being special. When everybody's special, nobody's special.
Nobody's special.
That's why Mike and I have hung out for like 36 years, because we make each other feel good.
So special in this podcast.
So what did you guys used to watch? Like what?
Yeah, I guess, were you always a horror fan? Is that what got you going, or?
Well, here's a weird thing. I wouldn't describe myself as a hardcore horror guy.
No, you got the Alien shirt on.
Well, Alien is just as much sci-fi as it is.
I know. my favorite, until they ruined it, my favorite franchise. And that whole...
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of mind-blowing that Ridley Scott did Blade Runner, he did two of the most iconic sci-fi movies in like a 4-year span.
Yeah. Although no one watched Blade Runner the first time. Alien did good, but Blade Runner was like...
It's funny, I remember going to the theater to see Blade Runner, and I remember watching
You're one of 6
every
people.
single time it's ever been on TV that I can watch it. I'm watching it on TV as it comes up, and now I get the new one now as well.
The studio ruined the theatrical release by putting that fucking voiceover thing, because they second guessed Ridley Scott. They said people won't get what's going on. It's too confusing, and they added that Harrison Ford voiceover to make it like some cheesy fucking pulp novel, like
that's the nice thing. And
then when you watch the director's cut without all that shit, it's thick with mood and atmosphere, and you don't miss anything. It's not hard.
The
to
silence
follow.
in Blade Runner is very important, and it's just the sound in the back without the talking is incredible.
And that's what I thought.
But I was late to the game on
my
that movie,
girlfriend went to see the new one Denis Villeneuve did, and I thought they did a brilliant job of paying homage to the original soundtrack, but still bringing it into the 21st century, and it was fantastic.
Like what I hate about the Total Recall remake. There's no lighting. There's no it's dark. You can't see things that you details you
it's
need
too much
to
like
see,
an anime
right?
show.
Like
it's just in your face and.
I miss
out
that.
of the darkness and just throw it in there, and here's all the visual stimulation we think you need to see, and then bang bang, it's done. And
I miss pause for a second, let me look, let me feel.
Talking about guerrilla filmmaking, I was listening to the guys talk about the making of the original Terminator with James Cameron back before he only wanted to be on the fucking ocean, and that where he's naked and crawls out and there's all that mist going around. That wasn't a fouling machine. That was the pollution in the city, and they just kept it there because they thought it was fucking boring. They also didn't have permits to film that night. So all the night shots in Terminator 1 were all shot guerrilla style. And they got raided 3 times, the cops, and 1 time. So they kept saying they were film students creating a documentary.
Nice. But actually, that famous scene in the beginning when he's naked and those 4 punks walk up to him, that was a young Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I rewatched that a while ago, and I totally forgot that was Bill Paxton was he just had the little small.
No, a lot of the ambience in the first beginning of that movie was accidental because that's what was swirling around the air. They added no smoke to those scenes whatsoever.
Pet Cemetery.
It was literally just mist and pollution in late 70s, early 80s New York.
Weird Science.
That's how bad it was.
The asshole brother.
Sometimes reality is worse than fiction.
Like seriously, in Pet Cemetery, Church the Cat. That was more freaky than half the movies that are out nowadays.
Paxton's in Guinness for having the most bit parts in movies. Like, it was just a shock to see that.
It was so sad to see he passed.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's just, he's gone.
He was a 90s boy. He was very
one of my favorite roles of his is in Near Dark, when he was there's that scene in the bar where he just owned that movie, man. It was so good.
The one that I was just rewatching the other night with my son is
Flatliners.
No. They live.
Oh yeah.
It's not good.
Oh my god. And
that was all classic conspiracy paranoia shit that everybody talks about now, but John Carpenter did that.
And the first half hour of the movie is very boy. It's Roddy Piper walking around. Like, it's quiet. There's not and so Dylan
has that the longest fight scene ever.
Oh, like 12 minutes long. It's incredible. The guy they fight for and all Roddy does is get his ass kicked all in movie. Yeah. It's great. But it was watching my son watch. He's like, this is boring. And I'm like, wait, it gets better. But like that, well, it didn't fly then. It flopped. But it really wouldn't fly now because I don't know how they'd market it. The first half hour, nothing happens. A bunch of homeless guys walking around and getting shit together, and then they put on the sunglasses and suddenly they don't distrust anything. So everybody's alien got to kill them.
The interesting thing about They Live is conceptually and ideologically, it totally fits in with
Today.
with the mood of today, because it's all about
Distrust. And
it's all about the paranoia of the government lying to you, and you pretty much got the reptilians in there, and
I am such a conspiracy theorist. It is, and yet I feel a little bit like the X-Files back in the day, Mulder, and then they tried renewing it, and all of a sudden he's not Mulder anymore. He's not a conspiracy. He's been broken. I'm a little bit broke, but I know it still exists. Like, conspiracies are there, but it's just not as.
I have no doubt about it. I just don't know how deep it goes.
doesn't go half as deep as Mike wants it to go.
That's the thing. I wanted it to be back.
I forget who I was talking about.
When I first started reading about the reptilians and everything, I'm like, this is crazy. But then I thought, wouldn't it be nice if that's what it was? It would be so much better than the thought that humans are doing this to each other.
Yep.
But at least there's some.
At least if it was some
something
evil, interdimensional
something we can unite against.
That's not us, rather than our own people enslaving each other. Like,
at least there's some nice conspiracy mystery that though. What really blew my mind is this last weekend in somewhere in North Carolina. You can Google it. It's one of the somewhere south of the Mason-Dixie. They sold out. And you couldn't get a ticket to or get into the first Flat Earth International Conference.
Yeah, that's amazing to me.
And, at least reptilians prove to me that they're not. Yeah, I know. And, the guys are literally holding up, stress balls and saying, this is fake. I just throw this to my dog. This isn't you. And you would talk to these people who just... I believe that they believe.
I had a science teacher,
and where they're like,
junior high,
how do you know the Earth's flat? And she's like, I've watched almost 50 hours of video on the internet. I'm like,
that's all? Really?
Yeah, was it all anime? Really? I've watched a lot of porn on the internet too, and that doesn't tell me all chicks love me. So I took that home. My wife said no. I'm like, hey, when I watched 50 hours, honey, that says you're gonna like this. It was just really fascinating to watch the take of the people who were there, and yeah, literally, they sold out in an hour. So they made their $700,000 in an hour.
There's
people
most definitely people that are living on another plane of consciousness and are in complete denial.
Space is good for that, though.
Oh, yeah,
these are all Europeans, all over. Europeans, Australians.
My thing with conspiracy theories is they wouldn't exist if humans weren't so conspiratorial.
Yeah.
And if they didn't actually happen for millennia in the past. Humans conspire. That's what we do.
Yep.
So to act like, that's just all bullshit, it's a good way of making people seem like nutcases when they're actually onto something.
It's the height of every system. Capitalism, socialism, Marxism, they all reach the pinnacle of the system works, and then all of a sudden it doesn't, because there's two classes and there's
William S. Burroughs said a paranoid man is a man who knows a little something about what's going on.
That's a good quote.
But the other thing is, I don't think a group of 6 humans or more can keep a secret for longer than a year. And I'm making up the 6 number, but you know what? There isn't a government agency. I don't care if it's bigger than 3 people. I think 3 people, obviously somebody killed Jimmy Hoffa, right? No one knows who did it.
But the thing
that's one guy, one death. That's not a conspiracy. That's a well-kept murder. But to say that there's any type of government agency, and meanwhile one of those agents who's a mid-level doing whatever, still has some chick that's sucking his cock that's like, hey honey, tell me what you did at work, whatever, and she's going to tell Lucy, her friend.
But when it goes so deep, you're going to get leaks and everything. But those leaks, this is the thing. This is where that whole thing of anybody that's got any type of a conspiratorial idea, they're a nut job. That's how it works. You get a leak, but a guy goes and he says, "Oh, by the way, so and so got this black budget program, and they're doing this crazy shit." And you're fucking nuts. Mm-hmm. You're immediately dismissed. So unless you get a whole bunch of people all coming out with evidence, you can keep a secret. Because the people.
I think if it's a one-off or something like that's happened, let's just take it to the extreme. So, for instance, there was a tiny group of people that were involved to make the 9/11, and say that the government did it. Could they have pulled it off? Or a couple of guys were on the other side in the Arabs funding the guys and getting the train done? Yeah, I can see that. And those SEAL Team 6 disappears or whatever, and they're living their lives on an island after that, or get killed off there. But the bigger ones they talk about in terms of the stuff that Mike gets all fucking horny over, like, you know, whether it be aliens or whatever.
But there's actually the U.S. government has a history of false flag programs, so it's not that far fetched that they would perpetrate.
I think every one that they've had outside of maybe something really small, I think there's a history, right? Because they come out. Yeah. That's my point. Is that I don't
to say
think
that 9/11 won't come out eventually. There's a lot of believers in that whole theory that it was a false flag thing.
I just read that 9/11 physics, the falling of the building. Hey,
he watched 50 hours of video.
Yes, I watched 50 hours of video, but I read that the falling of the building was actually more not about a plane hitting a floor, but about a demolition of a structural failure.
That's the thing.
I had that thought when it was happening live and I was watching it on TV. My immediate thought was, holy fuck, that looks like a controlled demolition. And I wasn't even thinking conspiracy. That was what I thought.
It's bad special effects. It's like watching a movie. A plane comes in, and no, that's not how the building's supposed to crumble when an airplane hits it.
Right, because movies told you differently. I think in reality, that's what happens.
That's part of the problem.
No, actually, I don't think that though.
Yeah,
we see stuff in a movie, and then we try to recreate it in real life, and it doesn't quite work the same way it happens in the movie. It's like running into the side of the GMC trucks.
You mean I get shot by a gun? I don't fly 50 feet backwards. I just crumple down dead.
And every car explodes.
Every car.
It's like
not just the Pintos. Every car explodes.
And you could shoot. I love MythBusters when they did all those kind of things.
You can
shoot a gun at the lock and it opens. It's like really, or make a car explode by shooting the gas tank. Like really,
that doesn't work.
I'll bet you $1,000 you can't get that car to explode if you
shoot
just
a
have a gun.
propane tank and it blows up. It says first of all you got to catch it on fire and get it less than 1/3, and then you can blow it up after that. But up until then, it takes a lot of
like I'll tell you this: when you shoot an animal like a deer or something when you're out hunting, when you hit that thing, it with the size of the bullet, like it just. You don't stand when you're getting riddled with bullets, and
the deer doesn't go like this.
The deer has been knocked on its ass, and it doesn't know. Like it's just.
They just fall. You know what happens? You fall.
My favorite bullshit thing in the movie Wanted, when they were bending the bullets by just flicking their
wrists. Oh my god, yeah, spit on them.
And then if that wasn't stupid enough, at the end, the magic bullet. And Angelina Jolie goes, she flicks her wrist, and there's like 12 guys in a circle, and goes, do, and it goes through all their skulls. It's a magic fucking bullet. It doesn't know what physics are.
It's because she had big boobs.
It was completely different.
It was big boobs.
I was watching that with Thyr, and I was like, what the? I was just so angry, and Tyr's I'm just looking at her.
Things never change.
This is incredible that way. This is knowing some of the guys that I know that shoot rather long distances. This is shooting. For the average hunter, you're only shooting about 100 yards. For the average military person, you're shooting about 500 yards max. For the average sharpshooter, when I was in, we used to shoot maximum 1,600 yards. Now they're shooting 3.5 kilometers.
Yeah, the Canadian guy, 3.2 kilometers.
That equipment he's got is just under $250,000 that they
I don't even
use
know where
between
3.2 kilometers is from. It's like from my house to here.
But I bet you
that's a video game console right here.
But part of it too is the physics involved in getting that. It's getting that bullet to go as far as you do. I remember shooting at Shiloh and shooting 1,600 meters and thinking that was phenomenal. And then you find out that you're nowhere near close to what some of these guys are shooting on a regular basis. I'm like, holy smokes. Long distances.
So James, when it came to a movie like this,
it's kind of like when the Bombers tried to win it's kind of like when the Bombers tried to win a championship game by just kicking field goals.
Yes.
And always rolling on a broken quarterback at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's about it.
Did you see the cups here? 13, yes.
So, I don't need the gory details, but so was this movie, I guess, self-financed, or do you have investors coming in, or?
It was self-financed.
Self-financed?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No
it's one of those.
contribute.
The first thing they tell you is never put your own money into a movie.
Yeah, I heard
That's
that.
pretty much what I do every time.
Excellent.
But
So
there's no
how the
fake-
hell do you get it made if nobody else is going to put their money into
Well,
it?
that's
right?
that's why I was curious because I assumed it was, but I'll ask any questions.
Well, and still maintain the creativity, right? Like
creative control. Very
That's
important.
one nice thing about having when
Can't
it
see
is
the
your own
director's
money.
cut.
You can do what the hell you want to do for that movie and turn out some really
Do as
good
little
stuff.
as you can afford.
That's why there weren't a lot of special effects. Like, when it's like, hey, let's drag Thyr in a cage behind a car going really fast and have sparks flying everywhere.
Yeah.
You think there was any visual touch-up?
Oh, it's just smart.
No. Let's just lock them in. They get in a cage. I was really trying to get out. It's like, God.
Hey, we were very careful.
What's our safety word?
We tested
I think our safety word is "fuck you." This is going on.
safety word is I'm bleeding.
So,
My eyes are bleeding.
it'll heal.
will there be like and I'm making up a theater, like the Park Theater release premiere in Winnipeg?
We already had that.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, we missed
Oh
it.
yeah, no, we missed. That's right too. We're
Park.
But you guys watched classic rocker concert or something,
Yeah,
right?
we're gone. I buy one concert ticket a year for my wife, and it's something
Yeah.
go down for a premiere.
Garth Brooks or
I
something.
imagine when
I was thinking,
when the distributor actually does
Yeah.
the official release,
Yeah.
we'll probably do another screening somewhere in
That'd be
town. I
fantastic.
don't know where. If we'll do it at Grant Park again or.
Did you go there, like Grand Park, when they, like, did you watch and see?
no, he didn't go. He was busy. Like, fuck it.
What did you
have to be
feel like?
there.
What was the energy? What was the?
It was good energy. I mean, it was a good crowd. It was pretty much a packed house, and everybody
Yeah.
was really enthusiastic. And you know, it's interesting to watch. You know, you work on something for so long, and you kind of get desensitized to it. And then you watch it with an audience, and you instantly know which stuff is working and which stuff isn't working. And about a week after that premiere, I sat down and I cut about 4.5 minutes.
I was
of
just about to ask.
stuff
Was
out of-
there a re-edit after
Yeah.
the?
Yeah, because for the most part, the movie worked, but there's a few places where I could feel, oh, this isn't working. This is slow.
So how often in editing
It's
process?
amazing how you can feel an audience. Like even if it's like I said, for the most part they enjoyed it, but there's a few places where you can just feel it dragging and
Yeah.
you know.
Do you move scenes around in terms of how much different from when you originally, like, I guess a couple questions. Do you shoot in chronological order in terms of the movie, and then did you change it through editing? Find
No, I
scenes
didn't
where
shoot in chronological order simply because our budget and our locations did not allow
Yeah.
that. So it was like,
I expect most don't.
hey, we got this place now, let's shoot this. We
Yeah.
got this place, let's do that.
Because the chase scene took place it's say a 30-second chase scene or
Yeah.
something, but it literally took a year and a half, like between certain scenes, and it's like 300 plus
Yeah,
kilometers in between.
there's actually
That's awesome.
There's an edit in there in the chase scene
Yeah.
that is 1 year and 300 kilometers apart.
Wow.
You can't
But the sparks
tell.
look the same.
There's a shot we shot one part in Treeherne.
Like you guys,
And then-
there's
and then
a
we
few
shot-
small
we
towns
shot
that you were
the-
in, right?
So do you have the pictures up with the hairdresser to make sure everything's exactly the same, or how does that work?
We were our own makeup, hairdresser, everything. I had to keep my hair the same.
No, we
the
had
whole time.
Laura did makeup.
She never
but
touched me once.
Yeah,
Laura,
I can tell.
Laura was doing like the special effect. Like she made us look like
Yeah.
we were drugged out, and
Right.
and she did some. Paul gets killed, and so we put some crazy contacts in and
God.
made his face all pale and put blood on him.
Should've
So
called
she
us,
did.
man. Would've been
She
there.
did all that kind of stuff. But we never actually had a makeup person that was,
Right.
you're a
Like
little
Game
shiny.
of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
No, I was just curious because with the difference in time,
It's
about
funny
people
to see
change,
that-
right?
Yeah.
So I was,
It's tough.
yeah, I was.
It's like
that was
facial
my
hair.
Yeah, it was my initial thought was right
Yeah.
because it's easy to see that the fuck ups in movies, right? Where something's on the right hand side versus the left hand side, so you got everything set up the same way, you're looking the same way.
James had the great idea too of no costume changes for us. Basically, like for me, I wore the same costume, not like day 2, day 3, day 4. It's like,
No.
was I wearing this? Was my cuff rolled up? It's like, no, exactly the same the whole movie.
Yeah, I got everybody. I said go out and buy a duplicate, like buy the same 2 of the same shirt, 2 of the same pants, so in
Yeah.
case you get it ripped or whatever. And just for continuity's sake, it's like we don't have to worry about that because we don't have a continuity person on set, right?
No. No.
Everybody's you got 6 people
the most
there.
important piece.
A crew of 6, and 3 of them are also the actors in the movie.
Did you
but
did
I
you
think
take
like so much
selfies
fun.
or?
Well, the only, I wouldn't call it a selfie, but I took, like, for wardrobe, because I got James to take, like, actually, I remember one time, because, like, a year past, like, how long was my hair? Did we ever
that's
of that?
because I mean, I'm looking at you going like, yeah, that's one thing you have to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and suddenly he must have eaten some alpha carotene because his hair grew 3 inches.
And there was another funny thing is, over the course of making the movie, I gained and lost 20 pounds about 2 times.
Oh no!
Because I go, you know, I'm a winter hibernator now.
Yeah.
Right. Winter comes along and I put on weight, and then spring comes along and I get more active and I take weight off, and it's like so. So there's like some scenes where I'm like, I look a little fat in that one, but I look pretty lean.
Oh, yeah, you got nervous in that one. That's great. Fantastic.
But I just wore a black
loaded.
T-shirt, right? So
Yeah.
mostly you can't tell.
So do you have the next idea percolating in there in terms of? I mean,
Yeah, I got a couple that I'm working on.
fantastic.
Couple might be an understatement. How many movie scripts, or at least, you know, screen?
Well, concepts I have about 40.
Holy shit!
They're all in different stages of development. Some of them are just purely just like a synopsis, and you know, a couple of character ideas, and then other ones are, you know, I've got some that are almost, you know,
Done.
20,000 words of
How
you know,
long does it take
fleshing
you
out
to,
ideas and characters and that kind of thing.
No, you
how long
were
does
here
it
for
take
that.
you to do something like that? To
Oh,
flesh it
yeah,
out
Bill
to
missed
make
that
it
part. How long did you write this movie in?
Well, I wrote this one in a week,
Wow.
but that's
The concept, yeah.
It was also writing as we were shooting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
the,
it was-
the details, right?
That's
They-
a big thing.
yeah.
But this was like a real indie run and gun. Let's make a
Do
crazy
it.
chase movie. There's not a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of deep thoughts or anything like that. There's things that like I really want. I'm more interested in making art house type films, like what I describe as existential horror, where it's about that intellectual horror and being
It's suspense,
ideas
right?
and
What's that
injecting
sci-fi
philosophy
one
and that
again
kind of
with
stuff in there.
a ship that goes to hell?
I've seen a few at
But,
art spaces. Some of those movies are fantastic that you get a chance
Yeah,
to see.
I've always
horror
loved art
that's
house. I
supposed
like
to
stuff
goes
that's
to hell
really
and
weird.
comes
Yeah, it
back.
goes to hell.
Really
a lot
off
of
kilter.
I think it's probably why
naive
Winnipeg was able to
kind
kind
of
of niche market for that too. Is
Oh,
you think of some of the stuff that's
it's
gone
old.
over the years.
It's an old one.
Yeah,
That
90s.
Family
It was
Opera,
awesome though because it was
the party they
Yeah,
have here
Winnipeg
for.
is
right. Like it wasn't.
embraces the weird, and that's I think weird people come.
It
up
wasn't
with
about
big
visual
ones of
effects.
that.
It was about freaking you out, like just
But that's-
weird.
you know,
Event Horizon.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I have
Yes.
I have
Yes.
a
I
couple
own the
different
TV at
things
home,
that
and I
I've
always
been
forget
working
the
on
name.
that are way
You know what?
more
When I still
complex
watch
than
that
what this
today,
one was.
it's still.
But they
But when you
also
talk
shiver
about
my
the mindfuck horror,
budget, so
that's what resonates with me. That movie, there wasn't a lot of
So this
visual horror stuff.
This
But the
was
cerebral shit going on to take
But
your
even with
mind. and
GoFundMe or
punch it
Kickstarter
50
or
miles down the road,
whatever,
it's good shit.
it's
That
the
was
same
good.
thing. If you don't have an
Loved
audience, who's going to fucking give you money? You know
That's
what I
it
mean?
too. Sometimes it's
Like
fun
I
to be
know
like-
tons of people that have started Kickstarter campaigns and made $2,000 and that's it.
Yeah,
And
that's
you can
like crowdfunding and
It's difficult sometimes, So
Pays for the sandwiches.
I've actually put a few bucks into some pretty weird ideas every once in a while, and everyone goes, "So why are you going to do that? You're going to lose your money." It's just because you know what?
it's cool.
It looks cool.
Yeah, because we're in an age now where we can do things.
I have to
that
go.
look cool.
I have to
Like
give
we
them
don't
a
really
block
care.
this. The cool cooler because they've
Yeah.
got a blender, they've got a speaker, they've got wheels. I put $200 into it, got myself a cooler coming. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, those guys
and
made
it's
like
bizarre.
$50
Piece of
million.
equipment.
I've done that too, and I'll put money into things that I think are really cool.
Yep.
But at the same time, like if you're trying to get a feature film off the ground
Very
and you
difficult
need
to
to
get
generate
that.
$300,000 or $500,000,
That's not-
Yeah.
that's
well,
not-
that's not
Yeah,
going to
do it
happen
50 bucks
unless
out,
you've
yeah.
got famous people involved,
Yeah.
or unless you have a massive following, or unless you have a subject matter that is so absolutely,
Yeah.
undeniably intriguing that you can go viral with a meme. And,
Right
Flatter
time,
society.
right time,
Yeah.
right? It's
and that type of thing
Cool.
you just can't predict.
Interesting. Well, so you got anything else you got to come up to promote coming up in the next little while? Anything?
I'm still sticking with Tempus Tormentum
Okay.
promotions.
Excellent. Good. Good. And
I actually
Didn't you
can't
just
wait.
act in a MIPS thing?
Yeah, I did that.
a MIPS. What's that?
You know what?
Oh, come on, man.
It's a secret
All content is good content.
conspiracy.
And now is this gay porn or
It's happy porn, yeah.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't.
it's something different than we've already seen because I've seen a lot of. I've seen the internet.
Mike's watched all your catalog. Okay, and we have to talk about your next gig coming up. Anything else going on? You guys need to promote or whatever? Anything?
No.
Okay, well, we'll have the link to the movie site in the show notes.
Yeah, we've been concentrating 100% on the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually can't wait to see this. I'm super stoked.
Well, we're Jack. We will definitely be ponying up our dollars.
The trailer's great.
I don't know. I think we're done
see
here.
the rest of it.
Awesome. This is way more fun than I thought.
I told you, dude.
Well, it's just like the trailer except for 81 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in.
Well, I mean,
If you want to watch 81 minutes of that trailer, then you'll enjoy it.
Have a lot of fun, man.
You guys are invited over anytime.
Yes,
I thoroughly enjoy getting together with anybody. It's the biggest reason we do this, is a chance to talk to people. So, looking
That was
forward
fun.
to when we get the distribution going. I think Mike and I will do a companion episode where we'll watch the movie and put our thoughts out there. But then we'd love to have you guys back at some point. So, James, Thyr, thanks for coming. Bill, thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for having us.
It's a good time.
Mike, thanks for hosting again. Everybody?
Thanks
Hang
for
in
my
there.
drink. That was awesome.
And thanks for the rolling.
Yeah, the Rolling Rock.
Same with us.
Sponsored by Rolling Rock.
No joke. We actually have our meeting with a potential sponsor who has to remain nameless until tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4:00. So we are
like a local brewery.
This has been our pinnacle. It's
yes,
just, I
we're reaching,
want to evaluate home brew.
Yeah, our goal, not home brew. It's a real brew.
Microbrewery, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I make my own beer. I got my taps there. I got my
we are
things
going
going.
to sit down with someone and see if there's some opportunities for some mutual promotion and maybe do some episodes from their place or what have you, and they will provide us stuff for our guests.
That would work.
So.
Is this a good time, maybe, or you could edit it out? Is it a good time to ask, like, geez, if I need to get this hair cut because I no longer have to keep it this way, where should I go?
Oh, it's what the hell's Crystal's place? Styles, Shades and Styles on Ness. The girls there would actually do a fantastic job with you, and if you tell them Carl sent you, I'm sure they'll take great care of you. I got a card somewhere with me. Yeah, that's fantastic. But hey, guys, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
As usual,
Thank you.
another great week. This will drop probably a week from Sunday. We'll let you know.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers. Keep musing.
Wow, boozing.
This has been an MK Cast production.
Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I know. I'm thinking if I take another drink of whiskey, I'm gonna wake up on the floor. Here's what I'm thinking. Oh, and here's what I know. I'm thinking it's a damn good day when you're drunk by noon and passed out by 4. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I know. I'm thinking if I take another shot of Jaeger, my old lady's gonna walk right out there. Here's what I'm drinking. Oh, here's what I smoke. I got a bottle, Jim Beam, 10 beers, cigarettes, and a down bag of down low. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I know. I'm thinking there's nothing like a bar full of booze, broads, beer, and a thick cloud of smoke. Oh, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I know. I'm thinking this chick next to me chugging beers at the bar's gonna put on a show. Yeah. Well, here's to the troops that are only 18. They can die for the country, but they can't buy a train. Here's to the soldiers that are overseas. For the rest of your life, you should be drinking for free. Oh, well, here's to the chicks that won't make you beg. They'll do you all night, but won't sleep in your bed. Yeah, here's to the hangover I got right now. Gonna drink it away with some 70 Crown. Here's to the blue-collar working man. Raise your finger in the air if you don't give a damn. Yeah, here's to the strippers getting college degrees. Gonna donate $1, education's for free.